These are lessons from me, and this is 23-year-old that still apply today in business 30 years later. Hi, it's Maria Quattrone, and I'm going to talk to you tonight about some lessons I learned as a 23-year-old, starting right after college, my career in advertising sales. And when I started, I was petrified of the phone. I would call people and ask them if they wanted to schedule an appointment, talk about, at the time I was working in Linwood, New Jersey, selling TV advertising for WMGM TV 40. And I was so scared of the phone, and I would pick up the phone and call people and hang up, and I'd call back. And it wasn't the first few months. It was really, really hard. It was horrible. In fact, I wanted to quit so many times. I was going to quit. I used to go outside and cry in my car and hide in the bathroom. It was hard. And I just graduated college, and I graduated on May 9th, and I started my job. That was a Thursday, and I started my job Monday. No time off, no like hiatus of going to Europe for the summer, anything like that. That would have been great. But one thing that I learned was my boss at the time said, why don't you go door knocking? Basically, go from business to business and find out who handles the advertising and show up in person. And then either try to schedule an appointment then, or then call back, because now you know the person that handles the advertising. So that helped me build confidence. All those little confidence builders, right? Going from business to business, getting the name, getting the number, knowing who I was calling, knowing when they were going to be in, to hopefully I can speak with them. So I would go and I'd ask who handles the advertising, when's the best time to reach them. I'd introduce myself, I'd hand my card, I'd meet the gatekeeper, so to speak. And then that helped me build confidence. So then I would go back to the office the next day, and I'd call and ask for either the owner or the marketing person, or I'd call the ad agency. And I kept doing it. And showing in person was great for me. I do well in person. And I was a little bit afraid at first, and then I became natural. So door knocking, businesses, door to door, is how I started my career in sales 30 years ago in May. Oh, a very, very, very long time ago. And I learned, very early on how to ask questions and how to connect with people on an emotional level and just be myself, authentic and natural. And that's what I've done over the last 30 years. I just got better and better at it because I've done it for so long, so long, so many calls. People would hang up on me, or sometimes I get kicked out of places. It was crazy, but I persevered. I persevered. My 23-year-old Maria persevered, and I made it through. And then within 16 months of being at that organization, I became the number two salesperson. And then I was able to leave Linwood, New Jersey, and secure a job in the Philadelphia radio market, which at that time was very difficult to get a position. They wanted you to have experience. I'd originally interviewed in Philadelphia, and I was told, go get experience and then you come back. So I did exactly that. 16 months later, I knocked on the door. I called the general manager of Star 104.5, Sil Scaglione. And then he told me to call Cassandra Banco, which I did, and left her message after message after message. Finally, I think I left like 7 messages. I got a call back. So they wanted to see how long I would continue to call before they call me back. They didn't call you back right away. They wanted to see if you had what it takes. And so I interviewed with them and I secured the position. And I left to the first job that I had and went on to be in the radio advertising sales world for 10 years. And when I started, again, I had to start all over again because now I had to build another book of business. And so here I am again. I would get there really early in the morning. And at the time, I was driving from Medford, New Jersey to Ballackinwood, which On a great day, early with no traffic, was 50 minutes. On a bad day, it was an hour and a half. And if it rained, forget about it. It was crazy. So I used to leave like really early, and I get home pretty late, like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I did this for many years until I built my business in radio at Star 104.5. And then I went on from there. But the lessons that I learned then, I brought into real estate in 2004. So when I entered in the business, I already had a lot of experience in making a lot of phone calls. I dealt with a lot of rejection. And when I started, don't get me wrong, I felt horrible. I used to cry when people would tell me no or throw me out. And it was very emotional and it was tough. It was really tough. But I kept going and going and going, and I didn't give up. And that's what I want to tell you today. A lesson from my 23-year-old self. Don't ever, 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 ever give up. Because if you don't, you will eventually succeed. You just have to keep going and keep believing and keep your faith. So, with that, I hope you have a great week. I hope this week is very powerful for you. It's the last week in August, and I hope it's successful for you. And I wish you the very, very best from the bottom of my heart to have an amazing week and to persevere and keep going, even if there's nobody on your side. But you know what? I'm on your side. So if you want and you want to talk to me, anything I can help you out with, please reach out. God bless. Have a great night, everybody.